Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you know the name. It's ESPN, the Esports Broadcasting Network. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It's Sunday night. You know what that means? Chris Cup Sim Racing is in the house. Everyone named Chris in here, man. You know how it goes. And don't look now, but you know what? We're going to be bringing you live action from the road course at Daytona. These guys did pretty darn good, but you know what? Helping me up out here in the booth, Richard Spar. Welcome to ESPN, my friend.
Well, I appreciate it, Byron. This is going to be one heck of a race here tonight with all these guys in here. I'm still getting used to all the Chris's.
Oh, man. Chris James, Chris Bring, Chris Roberge. Oh, man, he's going to kick me in the ding-ding for getting his name wrong. Chris Otto, Chris Reese, Chris Papa, you name it. We got Chris's all over the place. We got qualifying on the track for the next 4.5 minutes. I'd love to show you the grid, but you know what? I just got this whole new software package to do broadcasting with. Still trying to figure it out, but you know what? We're going to bring you the race coverage, and we're going to talk to the drivers. We're going to have a good time tonight.
Yes, we are, Byron. It's going to be one heck of a show here tonight. Just looking down the list, I mean, the times are pretty consistent, pretty competitive. I mean, from what I'm seeing in this league, man, there's going to be a lot of competition out here tonight.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a great race tonight. These guys, I want you to know, a lot of these Chris's put together an endurance team. They ran the 24 at Daytona. And when they got out there in the 24 at Daytona on this same road course, minus one front stretch chicane, they took first place.
Well, that's definitely impressive with these guys out here tonight. I mean, I'm watching qualifying. I'm watching some of these guys make these moves around these corners, man. I'm a dirt guy, so this asphalt stuff, man, it's a little new to me, but good Lord, some of the talent out here tonight.
Yeah, and I want you to take a notice, man. The graphics package that iRacing has done. iRacing's a platform, ESPN's a network. Chris Cup, that's your league. But you know what? I'm kind of focused in on the right front tire on Christopher Cook as he's out there making a qualifying run. And don't look now. Watch his brake rotor. There he goes. They glow bright red heading into the bus stop on the backstretch.
It is definitely bright red. The graphics package on iRacing right now, just phenomenal. Especially with these cars. I mean, you look at just asphalt stuff. Excellent. The brake rotors, the way these cars look, the way the tracks are, designed in different things. It is absolutely incredible. It is second to none. Not only on the asphalt, but you've got rally, you've got dirt, you've got road course stuff. And tonight we're going to see a little bit of a mix between the two.
Oh, yeah. We're going to have a big mix. And watch these cars. As the Daytona road course is not an easy thing to do. We normally talk about the high banks of Daytona, where you're only getting the high banks for a little bit. Then you've got no banks as they come off, hustle it around into turn one and take it off down through the kink into the International Horseshoe, where turn 3 is as flat as a pool table.
Absolutely flat surface. These tires are going to skid a little bit. I think we're going to see a couple. I watched Chris James there on his second lap when he was coming around that third corner. Kick the back end out sideways, kicking it loose. Man, we might have to watch that corner a little closer than a couple of these other corners out here tonight.
Yeah, I got to focus on the 95 of Christopher Cook as he's bringing it around on a hot lap, seeing what he can do. Seeing them rotors glow bright red on the front of his car. It doesn't look like he has much rear brake dialed into it. But then again, when you got flat turns and you're trying to get that thing set, you don't want a whole lot of rear brake. Now the rears are glowing good. As he's coming off of the last turn 6, headed up into the high banks for the backstretch, hustling off to the bus stop.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these back brakes are going to be interesting. What drivers are going to use them more than others? I mean, these front brakes, they're going to be glowing. I mean, this package here, I mean, it just goes to show how far iRacing has come. I mean, just watching him come through these corners with these brakes just glowing red, it is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, Chris Cup Racing being brought to you by SimNut Racing Seams. They, Diecast, they're out here and don't look now. Rocket Setups is, I believe, in there as well. Or DeMarzo's Gears. Got to get a mention out to those guys. It's been a little bit since I've done this. But
gotta make sure we get all the sponsors in there.
Yeah, I gotta get everyone in there. I'm looking at all this new little stuff I got to play with here, showing all the nice things that we can do with the graphics that we've got. Taking a look at the race info tonight, Chris Cup Series, round 12 at Daytona. And you can see it right there. It's been 2 weeks since Chris Cup's been on the track. And Chris Bass was able to capture the second consecutive victory in Nashville. Jonathan Leach got his first podium, and Chris James extended his points lead to 90 with a third place. So, going to see how they're going to do on this road course here, round 12 at Daytona Speedway. 77 degrees out, 57% humidity, clear, and very little wind as we are now getting ready to grid them up for the start. Take a look at our... we're going to grid them up and just going to start them off like this. Starting first, Christopher Cook. He laid down a lap of 155.013. Chris James is going to roll off second. Chris Bass third. Christopher Burling fourth. Chris Roberge, he's going to roll off. Come on. There you guys are. He's going to roll off fifth. Chris Otto sixth. Seventh is going to be Christopher. Oh boy, he is going to kick me in a ding ding for ruining this name. Christopher Williams going to roll off eighth. Ninth to be Christopher Lawrence, followed by Christopher Williams in the 10th position. Christopher Reese going to roll off 11th. CJ Mason, Chris J. Mason, going to roll off 12th. And come on, advance. She don't want to advance on me. So, she want to be like that? Let her be like that. Guess what? I got the rest of them. Starting 13th is going to be Chris Thompson. Raul Mesa on 14th. Chris Ryan Jones 15th. Jonathan Leach is going to roll off 16th. Chris Papa 17th. 18th Chris Jones. Christopher Landy 19th. And rounding out your field, starting shotgun, Jonathan Wiley in the 999.
Exciting lineup out here tonight. I mean, I came into this league completely new. This is the only race I've seen so far, but man, Chris James, I was watching him in practice a little bit, watched that qualifying lap, watched the way he hits those turns and different things. He looks incredibly fast out here tonight.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good run because these guys, like I said, they ran the 24 of Daytona on this track and took first in their class. Pace car's got them in tow right now. Looks like we're gonna come off of the backstretch bus stop and he's gonna bring them around. We're gonna take the green. We're gonna fire him off in anger. No one gave me a lap count on this thing tonight.
I believe it's going to be 35 laps. That's what the unofficial race says, is 35.
Well, 35 times around this circuit, it's going to be a good one. Look for these guys to be throwing these cars around. It's going to be a barn burner tonight.
Definitely going to be exciting out here. All these guys very close in times. I expect to see a lot of good battles here early on in the early stages of this race.
Yep, 35 laps tonight, now that I found the right button to push. Pace car is off. Christopher Cook, he hits the loud pedal. Green flag is out. He says, I'm out of here, boys. See you. Catch me if you can. He hustles it down off into turn one, and we are underway here at Daytona International Speedway.
Yeah, he's hustling down around this corner. Look at James. He's coming up. He's not letting him get out of sight. The top two starting to pull away here in the early stage of this race. We'll see if James can come up with anything down here in turn number 3. Nothing quite there yet, but setting him up nicely for maybe a future pass down here as he lost just a touch of ground.
Yeah, guys are jostling for position. Getting around the International Horseshoe kind of clean. Now we headed off to the kink, headed off to the second horseshoe as these guys are kind of now conga lined it. They're going to roll this thing, get those tires up to temperature, get them up to air pressure, see what we've got, and then you'll see if those brakes are going to last tonight because you know what? Latest update, they gave us some great modeling on traction, brakes, tires, damage, you name it. They did it. iRacing is just got it all under control, and this group of guys on the track know how to put on a show.
They absolutely do. I mean, the top two right now just stretching the field, it seems like. Cook getting a little bit of a lead up there on James, but these top two have really separated themselves from the rest of the field.
Yep, Christopher Cook, he's got it out there. He's got about a second gap on Chris James, and then you got to go darn near another second and a half back to third place in Christopher Burling.
Looking like it's going to be early. I mean, Cook just getting a nice jump there on the start, getting a nice little gap built up there to the American Horseshoe. But coming around here for complete the first lap, definitely going to be Cook by a long mile. Saw a little bit of smoke back there in the chicane.
Yeah, that looked like it was Chris Bass kind of locking him up just a tad.
You gotta imagine that might hurt him later on.
We're not going to have any cautions tonight, but see what happened to CJ Mason here. He was your smoke. Said we caught us a bit of a crash. Taking a look at the... didn't see exactly what happened there. Of course,
got in a little hot.
They call it... they'll call it a lot of incidents going on, but guys... Jonathan Leach taking a little trip off the track in the International Horseshoe, bangs that wall, brings a 48. Wall kind of straightens him back out, and he gets her back on the track, lost himself some positions.
Yeah, these guys, we said it, turn number 3 was going to be really difficult for these guys, and it just goes to show there, Leach just getting in just a little bit too hot, going up there, smacking the wall. We'll see how that affects him later in the race as he does it again here.
Taking a look at Leach, he's having a little bit of trouble. I'm having too many fun playing with these buttons. I gotta stop doing that. Back up at the front of the field, you can see from the blimp. Look at the gap. That's what 2.3 seconds looks like. That's what 2.5 seconds looks like here at Daytona International Speedway. So you bring it off to the front stretch chicane, hustle it over to the start-finish line. Let's jump in with the leader, and you can see what it takes to do a lap around this place.
Just smooth, calm, collected. The way he's driving this car through these corners like this, I mean, you just watch him. It's smooth. It's the way he needs to be. Coming down here into the turn number 3, getting on the brakes the way that he needs to, you know, rolling the corner the right way, slides it out just a touch, but keeping it going. This is what it looks like. This is the way it's done.
Yeah, you saw that big correction he had to make, put that counter steer into it. That's how you keep these big, heavy cars with very little traction straight on this track.
Just keeping it straight, keeping it, just dirt tracking it out of some of these corners the way that he's driving it. It's just absolutely stellar the way he's getting through these corners. But coming out of this corner here, down to the 1 and 2 normal Daytona, I'm interested to see if he can keep this going.
Yeah, we're riding along with the leader. Brings it over to the bus stop, top end, 4th gear. You're going to hear him get on the binders real hard. Downshift, downshift. Rolls it around that bus stop, catches it with that, tight little right, left, right to get in and out of that bus stop. Back up through the gearbox out on Daytona 3 and 4. Headed for the front stretch chicane. You hear him already on the binders and downshifting long before he gets there. They got to do it. These cars do not stop on a dime. And ladies and gentlemen, you just took one quick minute and 50. Well, wait on that time and come in. Last lap, 155.36 around this road course.
I mean, you think about that lap just in itself. I mean, we're a couple laps into this race. That still would have put him second on the board in qualifying. So these guys are still running great laps, even a couple laps into this race.
Yeah, but don't look now. There's a big gap in between your leader, Christopher Cook and Chris James, we take a look at first, second, and third. They have, 6 seconds is the leader. Second place is up by 3 seconds over third place. They're starting to stretch this thing out. And you got to be wondering, how far are they going to be able to go on a tank of Go Fast? Because I know they cut the fuel supply on these tanks.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be wanting to look at some of these things. I saw in the Discord maybe that they were going to do a competition caution around lap 12. So do you think some of these guys are going to go all the way to lap 12?
Well, you know what? If they're not going to be screaming for tires, if they're not going to be screaming for fuel, we'll see. We're going to find out. We'll keep an eyeball on it.
It's going to be interesting to see. These guys, man, like I said, I come from the dirt world. I don't have a whole lot of experience in these cars. The amount of drive put into this, I mean, kicking the back end out, fighting the wheel, I mean, it's just really cool to see. Yeah,
and, if you get right down to it, that's right in your wheelhouse, man, on dirt, because you are, kicking that rear end out and fighting that steering wheel. You put me on dirt, you might as well just give me the first row seat, because I'm going to put it in the wall and up and over.
It's not bad. I mean, it's definitely difficult on the dirt side, but I mean, I've run a couple of these asphalt races. It seems like the longer them tires go, man, you're really fighting that car. It's almost harder to drive with less tire on these cars than it is on dirt.
Yeah, taking a look at your leader again, 95 car, Christopher Cook. Christopher Cook, takes her off the wide around that one. Kind of missed turn one there, but he's got plenty of gap, 6.5 seconds.
6.5 seconds back to him, and then another 4 seconds back to Burling there in third. I mean, the gap is huge right now.
Christopher James bringing her around, trying to track down Christopher Cook. Just not happening. Christopher Burling, the number 47, Chris's Baked Beans machine.
Man, that Chris's Best wrap is very, very cool. I have
you like
to say.
that one, huh?
I definitely like that one. That was definitely unique.
Yeah, they have some great paint jobs. You got to see them when we get a larger field out there. Some of the creativity that goes into the paint jobs that these guys put on these cars is just nothing short of outstanding.
Oh, absolutely. I don't doubt it for a minute. Just looking through the field right now, I mean, some of these paint schemes, I mean, the amount of thought that goes into some of these wraps is just phenomenal.
Here's the Christopher Landy car we were talking about, the Chris Buy machine. Taking a look at his rear bumper, looks like somebody's nose has got a dent in it.
Oh, absolutely. From the rear, it looks like it. I saw him a few laps ago on that backstretch chicane. It looked like him and maybe another driver. I didn't really get to see who it was, but got into it just a touch there, and that's probably the resulting damage.
Yeah, laps are ticking off fairly quick here. We're on lap 36 of 35, lap 6 of 35 tonight. Already rolling. Just 10 minutes into this thing, and we've already clicked off some pretty fast laps. Rumor has it, lap 12, competition caution. That's going to bunch the field all back up. We kind of need a bunch back up because Christopher Cook is just he's just schooling this field. 7.5 seconds out on the rest of them. I'm going to venture to say Christopher Cook is one of the guys that was on that 24-hour team. 98, Christopher Rebage. Oh, big incident there. Loops it coming out of the, looks like the front stretch chicane. Going to be kind of hard to catch up with the action tonight because the caution will not be thrown. There are local cautions on this road course.
Yeah, these local cautions are going to be a little bit different than a lot of things you're going to see. And I mean, it's hard to keep up with all the different you know, the American chicane or the American horseshoe up there, the different chicanes and everything. I mean, we almost had to just watch the smoke and see how it happens.
Exactly. Christopher Thompson brings her pit side. He's in the pits. Been there for a little bit. I'm assuming he's got some major front end damage there. Don't know what happened to bring him in there, but he is the first one in on pit road.
Well, the first of many. I mean, like I said, we know something's going to happen here. I'm trying to rewind and go back and see if something happened to him, but not seeing a whole lot.
Well, he meant to end somewhere. 8.5 seconds is the gap for the leader. Christopher Cook's just bringing him to school. Christopher Thompson gets it out of the pits.
I just cannot get over this lead right now by Christopher Cook. I mean, 8.5 seconds. Just stretching the lead right now. I mean, we're only on lap 7.
Yep. You know what? There's only one thing, you know, on these cars, to work this track in these cars, there's only one thing that's going to get you this good, and that is you have had to have put in a ton of practice. Nothing beats seat time, especially on this track where you get to that infield road course section, it's a lot of rhythm, and then you've got to hit your braking points for that backstretch bus stop. You got to hit your braking points for the front stretch chicane. And you got to get around them good, as we watched 95 of Christopher Cook just kind of slide it doing a fork tire drift on that first right-hander after the left-hander in the bus stop. He's out of school. Yep, he's barking it out too.
Yeah, they're definitely barking. They're watching this race. I mean, just the sheer amount of talent that has to take is just absolutely incredible.
Got another one in the pits. Wrong button, Byron. Chris Mason brought her in pit side. No damage. Looks like a regular stop for him.
Well, there before he brought it down there pit side, it looks like he might have been missing a hood.
Well, he might be getting fixed. I did not check to see if we had fast repairs tonight. I don't think we do in this league.
It does say fast repair limit once. They must have given him one tonight.
Yeah, well, a lot of these guys are going to be needing it, if you ask me. We're working lap 8 of 35. Waiting to see if that competition caution comes out on lap 12.
We definitely need it with the lead up over 10 seconds right now.
God, I love how those brake rotors just light up.
That is an absolutely cool feature on these cars.
Well, I watched the real NASCAR race today. Old C. Bell pulled one out of his hat. But you watch those rotors glow on those things. Old Logano looked like he was going to win the race, and he just ran out of brake, period.
Yes, he did. Completely ran out of brake.
Daytona International Speedway Chris Cup Sim Racing Series. Taking a look at Christopher Burling going around the track right now.
You know, Burling really hasn't lost that much ground to James.
No, he hasn't. He's held that thing right about 5.5, 6 seconds. But don't look now. Chris Bass is closing up on him. On that, on his back bumper, he's chopped that deficit down to, if I'm not mistaken, 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, right there around 2 seconds. I mean, he's been really consistent over the last few laps. just hitting his marks, kind of like you said before, hitting his braking points, hitting his entry points, doing the things that he needs to do to try to run down Burling and potentially, here later in the race, maybe run down James.
Taking a look at the 97 of Christopher Bass, and he has chopped that 2.5 seconds down. Don't look now, 1.5 seconds. We're going to have a battle for the third position here shortly.
He's definitely coming in, and just the different things that he's doing. We saw Burling there going into turn number 3, locked him up a little bit. Not a whole lot, but just a little bit. And it just allows Bass to just close slowly but surely. Just small mistakes. And if Burling keeps making them, Bass is going to be there before we know it.
Yeah, but also, Burling doesn't have anyone right in front of him that he's queuing off of, and Bass is queuing off of Burling right in front of him. So he's got a rabbit to chase, so to speak. He can get into that corner a little deeper. And because he can see where Burling makes his braking for that corner, so Bass can go a little deeper. Burling doesn't have that reference off of James to help him, as that 1.5 second deficit is now down to 1.4.
1.4, he's definitely closing in. It's just a matter of, are we going to get that caution on lap 12? If that does come into play there, this could be a completely different race.
Well, we're down to 26 laps to go in the whole race. 35 was the number we started with. Down to 26. Let's see. Okay, do my math. Subtract this finger, add that toe. Yeah, we're about a couple, 3 laps away from seeing a competition caution.
Well, don't look now, but Bass has really closed the gap through turns 1, 2, and 3 there early on. He is really coming.
Yeah, Bass has got, it looks like he's got a better beat on that infield road course. And then Burling kind of stretches it out once we get to the high banks. But we spent a lot of time on these flat infield corners.
Definitely have. I mean, these infield corners are really the difference maker in this race. You add in the chicanes on the back stretch and the chicane on the front stretch. I mean, these flat surfaces between these guys, I mean, that could really make up a huge difference.
Yep. Not that much of a gap. Now, when you take a look from the blimp, you can see where Christopher Burling gets on the brakes pretty hard, and Bass is driving it in deeper into that bus stop. Able to chop that lead down. He is under a second on the high banks. See how tight he can bring this back up once we get to the infield. Other closest battle I've got going on right now is, don't look now, but Christopher Williams has got Christopher Williams all over his tail.
Yes, he does. That battle back there looking really exciting as well.
Yeah, Chris Williams got a little bit of damage on the back of that car, but it doesn't seem to be hurting him. As Christopher Ryan Jones, he's the one out in front in the 24. 31 is catching him. Going back to that Burling battle, take a look now, but there's a shadow right on the rear bumper, and here comes your move.
It's definitely coming down here into turn number 3. Just drove it in real deep for Bass. I just don't know if he's going to be able to make a move. If he's going to, it's going to have to be down here. As we've seen here over the last few laps, Burling has really stretched him out just a touch on these long corners of actual Daytona.
Yeah, heavy braking zones are the International Horseshoe, turn 3, and then this horseshoe right here, turn 6. Those are, zones where you can do a little bit of dive bombing, but you better do it right, because too much dive bombing and you're going to go off the track into the tires as they bring it back out to the high banks. And we got a race going on here, folks.
We absolutely do. These two we've been watching this one pretty closely. And I mean, it seems like Burling on these flat areas, through the American Horseshoe and everything, he's struggling where Bass is really strong, but when we get out here, open it up on the actual Daytona, it just seems like Burling is just second to none right now.
Christopher Williams in the 31 got around Ryan Jones. Here's the replay of how it happened. Ryan Jones in that 24 just way too hot into turn one, locks him up, lost a lot of ground to Chris Williams.
Yes, he did. He just drove right into that corner way too hard, trying to do whatever he could to stay in front of the 24, but man, big mistake there.
Yeah, back in our leader, 14 seconds lead on second place, Chris James. But the race right now seems to be Chris Burling and Chris Bass. That 97 is just all over him, waiting on the 47 to make a mistake. One mistake and Bass is just going to go boop, right on by.
And Burling has been very strong, though. He's been hitting the way he needs to hit. It's just the amount of effort that Bass has given to driving in just a touch deeper, like you said. And Burling just doesn't have an answer for that part.
Now, Bass, he's got the reference points that Burling doesn't have. And believe it or not, that's how I learn road courses is, I get behind a guy that knows how to get around it, and I start keying off of the line that he runs. I start keying off of his braking points and his shift points. And right now, Bass is getting, he's taking a lesson right now on where Burling is strong and where he's weak and where he's just gauging where to make his move.
Absolutely. Bass is sitting there just waiting on Burling to make one mistake, and he's going to jump on that opportunity. But, I mean, recognizing braking points, it can be dangerous as well. You could potentially overdrive, as we saw him there, get a little bit sideways coming through that chicane.
Yep. When you're getting a little bit sideways, you got to understand these tires are starting to wear pretty bad. Getting slick and greasy out there. Christopher Burling doing a masterful job, I think he's got a career outside of iRacing if he wants to open up the Christopher Burling, defensive driving school.
Oh, absolutely. He's driving that thing really defensively here. But, I mean, there's the caution that we were talking about before. So this is going to shake things up.
These guys race back to the line. Caution's out. Christopher Cook, your leader.
A 14-second gap back to second. That is just a masterful job around this Daytona road course.
Christopher Cook, that's your qualifying. I'm not going to show. I've got to learn these buttons a little bit more.
Looking at Christopher Cook's lap times, I mean, he really hasn't fallen off a little bit. Maybe a second or two here and there, but he has been very, very consistent.
Yeah, very consistent, but, his best lap was a 1:54.23. He's out there. We got this caution on lap 12, and his last lap was a 1:58. That's a 4.5 second. He's got a 4.5 second fall off on these older tires. Keeping my focus on Christopher Cook right now to see when the pace car picks him up. Is pit lane going to be open?
Still looking for that pace car. I haven't seen it yet.
It's out there somewhere.
Looks like the iRacing pace car there, it looks like they're still sitting down there. Lights are on.
There it comes.
There it comes.
It's coming out of pit exit. It's picking up our race leader right now. Let the field bunch up behind him. And we should be seeing wholesale pit stops. You can imagine they'd probably want to do wholesale pit stops.
Oh, absolutely. Like you said, the 4-second fall off there. I mean, you almost have to come down and get some fresh rubber on these cars.
While we're under caution, folks, if you take a look at the schedule coming up on ESPN, February 22nd, the Rowdy Energy Cup Series at Daytona. Followed by on the 23rd, Western States is at Texas. USRA Cup Series is going to Phoenix. And don't look now, ladies and gentlemen, the dirty old bastards, the 410 Sprint Series is going to be at Williams Grove.
I'm definitely looking forward to that one. I am looking forward to it.
Hey, speaking of dirt tracks, did you, if you get on the internet and you Google Parkersburg, West Virginia, world's fastest dirt track's opening back up.
Really?
Yep. Now,
I had not heard that.
Oh, it is. I don't know how close you are to Parkersburg, West Virginia, but you know, I live only about 20 minutes away from that track.
Living in Missouri, I mean, I don't know a whole lot of the other tracks, but
you're in misery. I got it. Living in misery.
Absolutely.
I was just out your guys' way not too long ago, just before all that bad weather decided to hit.
Oh, it definitely got nasty over here.
Waiting on the rest of the field to get around the track. I'm only seeing, if I'm looking right now, I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars behind that pace car. Five cars right behind the pace car, and then there's a long line back to Chris Williams in 6th. There he goes. He's catching up. Oh man, 30 more seconds back to the next Chris Williams. Now the field's starting to bunch up as they're heading around the high banks. See if we're going to get some wholesale pit stops happening here.
We are definitely going to get some pit stops here. I'm interested to see who's going to get off pit road first.
Heading around the chicane, looking for pit entry. Let's see what we get. We got some takers. Here you got one drive around. Looks like the 48 of Jonathan Leach. The wholesale pit stops happening right here. See what we see.
Yeah, it looks like just about everyone came down pit road there that was on the lead lap.
Watching the guys in the pits. Our leader's going to get... Oh, man. What happened to the leader?
I am not sure, but he lost a ton of positions there.
Ton of time lost on pit lane. Christopher Cook, all the way from the penthouse damn near to the outhouse, went from 1st to 7th on that pit exchange. He was in for a 20-second pit stop. Wonder if he had a little bit of optional.
Oh, he absolutely had to have had something there to keep him on pit road that long, give up the lead. Something had to have been going on.
Yep. Right now, Chris James has got the lead. Talk about Chris James and the run that he's had, and don't look now, but Bass got around Burling on that pit strut.
Yes, he did. And like I said earlier, Bass looked really strong towards the end of that run. I'm interested to see if Bass can maybe make a move and get around James here.
All right. Taking a look through my radio here. Wondering what happened with Christopher Cook. I don't see. I don't see Christopher Cook on my radio list to pull him in and see what happened.
I don't see him either.
Well, that's all fine and dandy. Well, they're circulating under caution right now.
And taking a look back, it looks like Cook, during that pit stop, fell all the way back to 7th.
Yeah, he's rolling 7th. Now, the way he was schooling this field, we're going to have, what, at least 20 laps left in this thing. That's plenty of time with, the driving ability that he has to work his way back to the front. Lights are off on the pace car. Looks like the Porsche is leading them around tonight.
A little surprised at some of these cars that came down pit road, and not a whole lot of damage repaired on some of these cars up towards the front.
No, like I said, the more you watch the Chris Cup Sim Racing Series, the more you're going to see there is one hell of a lot of talent on this track. And what I mean by talent, it's not just, the ability behind the wheel, but also the character of the driver behind the wheel. And what I mean by that, in that talent and character, is these guys show a lot of respect on the track. They don't beat and bang and dive bomb each other. When you get to the last lap, yeah, all bets are off. I'm going for the checkered flag. But during the race, they all understand they need to be there to be there. If you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. And to beat the man, you got to be, right there with him. And they understand that, and the respect that they have for each other on the track is just amazing. You try watching a C fixed or A fixed race on this road course, you're going to see guys just, you'll have 30 car start, lucky if you get 10 finish.
Oh, absolutely. I watched a couple in preparation for this race, and just the dive bombs and different things, it got really exciting, in a couple of spots. But like you said, it just speaks to the character of these guys in this league and the amount of competitive, love for one another that we don't have a whole lot of torn up race cars out here tonight.
No, you don't. You know what? And there are some hard feelings that happen in this league, but they know how to talk it out and they know how to keep it respectful on the track, and that's what I love about Chris Cup.
Absolutely. And I mean, just some of the racing that we've seen so far here today. I mean, the start of this race, you got to think going down into turn 1 that there's going to be a bump here, a move here, and we really didn't see a whole lot of that.
No.
Looks like the lights are out, so we are going green this time around.
Yep, we will be going green when we come back around the when we bring it back around. It is going to be fired off in anger. Chris James in the number 2 has control of the field, selected the inside lane, and if the outside lane's anything like real life, there's going to be some wheel spin on that, especially on cold tires. But
absolutely,
you got to watch it, man. When these guys, they've been in the pits, they're on cold tires, and it's just like the race start, man. Are we going to get a clean entry into turn 1? We're fixing to find out. It's
definitely going to be an absolutely wild start here. I hope that we don't see a whole lot of torn up race cars down here at turn 1.
Nope, pace car makes a hard left turn into pit lane. Green flag is out. Chris James is on the loud pedal. He says, see you boys, catch me if you can. I am out of here. And don't look now, but look who's right on his tail.
Pulling down into turn 1, trying to go to the outside and make a move. Wow, what a move to the outside. It looks like it might bite him here, but he's going to have that inside down here in turn number 3.
Oh, man, guys getting her all squirrely off of the inside kink there, bringing it down into the International Horseshoe.
Cook was sideways down there.
Yeah, Cook off the track. Take a look what happened with him. Yeah, just got it all loose going into there. Lost a ton of position. Fell down to ninth spot. The stuff he gained on the initial start, he lost.
Fell all the way back there on just one little mistake and through that American Horseshoe. I mean, that's what we're going to see throughout this race. 98 spins out right in front of him.
Oh, 98 goes all the way around. That 98 at Chris Roberts. Let's see what happened. As you see the 95 come in right behind him, 98. He just takes it way too hard and gets on the gas way too fast and gets a little loose. And that's where the rear end says, you know what, I want to be the front end for a bit.
Absolutely, but looking at Cook, I mean, he's still trying to battle through this field. It's going to be interesting to see if he can really make these moves and get back to the front of this field.
Yeah, he's got to calm down and regroup and let that restart just kind of fade out of his brain. You know, just get back into the rhythm. This is a rhythm race.
Absolutely, you know, hit your break points, do the things that you need to do, and make the passes on some of these guys and get yourself back into contention. As we saw that first lap, James opened up a 3-second gap.
Yeah, James has got 3 seconds on the field. Christopher Burling, those two were swapped positions, and they were racing hard, you know, for what, 5th and 6th earlier on. But now Christopher Burling's got Chris Williams, Chris Bass, and Chris Jones all over his tail. He's got to see if he can stretch it out over the 3rd, 4th, and 5th place machines.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of jostling for that 3rd place spot. Hopefully it'll allow Burling to get into a little bit of a rhythm here as we see him all sliding down here into this corner.
Chris Jonathan Leach off track again. Just driving it way too hard. This is a finesse. You got to get on the gas pedal coming off of these corners like you got a raw egg under your foot. You're trying not to break.
Oh, absolutely. And, some of these guys just, I mean, you see that spot right in front of you. It's almost like you're so close. Maybe you drive in just a little harder or get in the gas a little bit quicker, and it ends up biting you in the butt later on.
Yeah, taking a look at Chris Cook now, he was the leader for a big part of the race. Making the move on Christopher B. Williams. He's got the preferred line going into the bus stop. Gets the job done. Hard on the binders in the bus stop. I can see he doesn't have a lot of rear brake dialed into that thing, and that helps him stop in a straight line. Too much rear brake, you get on the brakes, your car's going to, back end's going to want to be the front for a bit, and you're going to be staring out the windshield into the windshield of the car behind you.
Absolutely, and just some of the moves that he has to make now. I mean, right now, just as we're sitting, he's almost 11, 12 seconds behind Chris James, the leader, so a lot of time needs to be made up, but we saw there in that first run that he was able to make up a lot of ground and put a lot of distance between him and James.
Right. Now, it's all going to boil down to 17 laps. Now, I'm looking at Chris Cook is doing a 154. Chris James right now in clean air is doing a 154. And there's what? 11-second gap. And he's a second faster than everyone else in front of him. So he's going to be able to, in 7 laps, work his way, by my calculations, up to 2nd place. And it's all on Chris James to make sure he don't step on his own junk.
Oh, absolutely. James has to feel like, if he can hit all his marks, do the things he needs to do, he's going to be the winner of this race. But at the same time, you know, he may have that 4-second gap back to Burling, but if Cook can make the moves that he needs to make, it's going to be difficult to hold him off towards the later stages of this race.
Yeah, well, don't look now, but Chris Bass is all over the back of Chris Burling right now. Chris Bass wants that second place, and he's making the move, headed to the bus stop. Doesn't quite do it. Backs out of it, doesn't make the dive bomb move, but he's still right on the rear tail of Burling as he's trying to get that second place away from him and see if he can put some, chop some of that distance down to P1.
Oh, absolutely. And this is a battle that we saw earlier. Is he's going to take a look down here, and he's going to let him go. He's going to lock him up down here into the front chicane here.
Oh, he just drove it in way too deep.
Way too deep. And Burling's going to walk away from him here for a little bit. We'll see if Bass can maybe run him back down.
Wow.
Looked like Burling was going to let him go in that front chicane, and he just overdrove the corner.
I'm going to watch this move one more time on replay. Christopher Bass just goes in way too deep, way too hot. Just cannot get it wound down to get around inside that front stretch chicane. And Christopher Burling goes right back around him.
Just a mental mistake there. A mental mistake, and it can cost you a spot.
Yeah, but you know what? It's not dissuading him at all. He is back right on that rear bumper. It's Chris Bass doing his best. Chris Ryan Jones. Christopher Williams making a little bit of an off-track expedition. Getting up like 3 spots. Don't look now, but Chris Cook is right on the tail of Chris Ryan Jones. Chris Cook is up to 5th position looking for 4th.
He is absolutely looking for 4th, and this is exactly what we talked about. He's got to make these moves, and he's got to get around Williams here for that 4th spot so he can run down this battle of Burling and Bass.
Now, you remember when we first were talking about the time on the track that Chris Cook had to make up. It was at an 11-second deficit. Now it's only 8-second deficit, and he's going to be, looks like he's going to get around the 24 right now. Move Christopher Cook up to the 4th position. Chris Bass has got a set of crosshairs on his rear bumper right now.
He absolutely does, and you know, Cook, he has been hitting all the marks that he needs to do. As I see a bunch of smoke.
A lot of smoke up here. That was Christopher Burling getting it all wrong. Let's see what happened. Christopher Burling brings it around, headed off to the front stretch chicane. Just gets it. Oh, did he have a little help there from the 97? It kind of looked like he did.
Looked like a little love tap in the left rear. Got him a little loose going in there.
Got him a lot loose going in there. Move Christopher Burling back to the 5th spot. Move Christopher Cook in that 95 is up to 3rd. And Christopher Bass in the 97, the one that kind of give him a little bit of a get out of my way tap. He's got a set of crosshairs on his bumper.
He absolutely does. Cook is coming. He is making the moves that he needs to make. If I'm Chris James right now, this has got to be playing in my head. I mean, there's not a whole lot of laps to go, but at the same time, Cook has plenty of time to run him back down.
Well, in the time of 5 laps, we've seen Christopher Cook chop 4.5 seconds off of the leader's time. Now we're down to 15 to go, and he's only 7.5 seconds behind the leader. Chris Bass in the 97, he's got to be wondering, what do I got to do to hold this guy off? I don't know if I can. And if Christopher Burling in the 47 ever catches his way back up to the back of Christopher Bass, I'm keeping an eyeball to see if those two get together, because you know there's going to be some payback.
Oh, you absolutely know there's going to be some payback. That nice little love tap will not go unnoticed. I'm absolutely sure of that. As it looks like Cook has closed the gap, and we're getting ready to watch the battle between him and Bass.
Yep, Bass has only got a 5-second deficit to the leader. And Cook is just, well, shoot, half a second deficit to Bass.
We're going to have to see how defensive Bass is going to be here through the American Horseshoe. I mean, you can see James from where they are. So, I mean, Cook is really, really coming right now.
Yes, he is. Riding on board with Cook. See him working that steering wheel. You can hear him working that throttle all over the back of Christopher Bass. You just got to wonder how soon is that move going to be made? Or is he just still biding his time, not wanting to burn up his stuff, so he's got something left for the leader, but the leader's, 6.5 seconds out in front of him.
Yeah, James has been driving very cautiously. It almost seems like James has been really saving a lot of his car so far in what we've seen.
Here goes the move.
The move was there.
And the move got made. Move Christopher Cook up to second. See if he can track down our leader.
That last time around, Christopher Cook with a 155.771. And Chris James with a 157.817. The 2-second difference between these cars right now. Is James saving his stuff?
Gotta be wondering, if I was James, I'd be keeping my eyeball on that Delta. See how far that is so I know how hard I gotta push. But you know what? 13 laps, a long way to go here at Daytona.
Very long way to go. As we looked at last time around, very similar lap times between Cook and James. So did maybe Cook burn up some of his stuff driving up through the field?
Don't know. Cook's got a better lap time of about 0.2 over our leader, Chris James. So the ability to run the lap times are there. 0.2, 13, okay, call it 0.2 a lap, 13 laps. That's only a couple of seconds. That ain't going to get the job done, man. You're going to have to pick them up and put them down a heck of a lot quicker than this.
Absolutely, and like we said, we don't know who's saving stuff. We don't know if maybe Cook has used too much, maybe James hasn't used enough. So it's really going to be interesting to see here in these final laps. Can James maintain the lead?
And can they get the job done on the fuel that they've got, too?
Pit stops could play a big factor if they have to pit.
If they're going to have to pit, say you got 5 laps to go and you have to pit. Are you coming in for fuel only, or are you taking tires too?
I don't know, almost 2-minute lap. I mean, you almost have to take those tires.
Yeah, when you watch it, your best lap, when you get about 10 to 12 laps on your tires, you had a 4-second a lap fall off. So, yeah, rubber is a premium here.
Absolutely, and does pit strategy play a factor? I mean, we don't know if they can go an entire rest of this race on fuel, so it's going to be interesting to see.
Going to be real interesting.
As that gap is closed, almost half of what it was there between Cook and James. It's down to 3.5 seconds.
Yeah, it's almost the closest battle we've got on the track. Closest battle I'm showing right now. Chris Otto, well, guys are getting all funky loose around this track. As we see the 88 head on into the wall, getting on too much. His tires are completely gone.
They are completely gone. You almost got to think maybe a pit stop. I mean, you're already down the list a little bit. Hope for, something miraculous to happen, but that car's got to be incredibly difficult to drive right now.
Well, yeah, it looks like it's incredibly greasy on that thing. You overcooked the tires. Traction's just completely gone away. He's turning 2-minute lap times when everyone else is 6 seconds faster. Yeah, you know, overdriving these cars on this road course is super simple, super easy. Yeah, I'm watching him fishtailing off the corners. His rear traction is gone. That's a heartbreak for the 88.
Absolutely a heartbreaker.
But he's still running in the top 10. We'll take those points and move on to next week. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. When you're points racing, it doesn't matter if you're running, you know, a roughed up race car. If you're in the top 10, that's a good points day.
Back up to the front, 2.7 seconds separate our leader, Chris James, from second place running Chris Cook.
And the eye test tells you Cook is running him down, and he's running him down a little bit quicker than I actually thought he would be able to.
Oh, the 97 of Chris Bass bringing it into a pit stop. Maybe they are going to have to do take tires and fuel in this thing. They're not going to be able to make it all the way as Chris Bass pulls the trigger, brings her pit side from the third position.
Absolutely. That makes you think that this is going to be a pit stop left for these two in the front. And who's going to get down pit road quicker? I mean, we saw last time it looked like Cook, you know, maybe had some optional time or something and lost a ton of ground to the rest of the field.
Yeah, well, don't look now, but Cook has made up a ton of ground on the leader. He's right on his back deck lid just waiting for him to make a mistake.
Absolutely.
If you got the Jaws music, cue it now.
Cook has definitely ran him down. It is getting close, and it is getting hot and heavy for this lead right now with about 10 laps to go.
Yeah, you can see the pressure that Chris James is under. He's overdriving the corners, and don't look now, but just as easy and quick and fast as that, Chris Cook just got around him for the lead, moved Chris James back to second position.
Chris Cook, the drive that we've seen from him here after that competition caution has been absolutely flawless. He has done everything that he needs to do to get back to the front of this field, and it is just inspiring to watch almost.
Yeah, Chris Cook starting to leg it out on it now. Taking a look back through my field. Chris Papa in the 11th spot. He wants that 10th spot away from the 33 of Chris Jones. We got a race going on for 10th place right now.
Oh, we absolutely do. With those two cars in Williams and Jones, I mean, you got to think, are they going to be able to, you know, Papa, excuse me, are they going to be able to run down that 88? I mean, we saw him struggling, sliding off corners. How many spots will that 88 car lose?
Now, remember when Chris Bass went off into the pits? 97 pitted, didn't he?
I believe so.
Okay, well, guess who's just back into the fourth position, getting around Chris Quillis?
I'm going to go back and see if he actually pitted.
Yeah, he pitted.
Wow, all the way back up to fourth on that fresh rubber.
He's in fourth position. No, make that third position on fresh rubber. 9 seconds behind Chris James. Looks like Chris James just came in and pitted. Because there's 23 seconds. Chris Cook is going to have to pit. Those fresher tires running behind him are going to run him down if he doesn't get back in. 10 laps to go in this thing. Looks like our leader needs to find the pit lane, get some fresh rubber, but will he cycle back out in front because everyone else trying to make the undercut?
Absolutely, that undercut might pay off. I mean, with a shorter distance, but with as fast as Cook has been today, I just don't see how he wouldn't be able to get back out into the front.
It's going to be interesting to see. We'll follow and see if he gets in there.
See if he comes down pit road this time around, because it looks like pretty much everyone else has cycled through pit lane. And it looks like he is.
95 brings her in. Let's see if he takes 4 tires or he takes fuel only. And see where he cycles back out on this whole thing. We'll have to see.
It's definitely going to be close here.
I got a message from Taylor Westerfield. Thanks for watching out there on YouTube. And did let me know that the 24-hour team that won their split, Chris Bass, Chris Jones, and Chris Bauer. And Chris Bass in that 97 was one of them.
Wow. Because it looks like after the cycle, Cook back out front in front of James, so didn't lose a whole lot of time there on pit road. But
and Taylor's let me know that that's pronounced just like kiwi, like the fruit. You know what? That's going to keep me from getting kicked in the ding-ding. Thank you, Taylor Westerfield.
All right, then.
All right, Chris Cook in the pit lane, out of the pit lane. No, look now. He's back in the lead, but Chris James is right behind him, 1 second behind. Got to wonder what Chris James is going to be able to do with it. Chris Bass, 5 seconds back behind now.
Well, you know, with James there, you know, he short pitted a little bit earlier there, but, you know, the 95 has just been almost unbeatable today as he overdrove the back chicane.
Yeah. Gonna have to come to a stop or take, well, iRacing gives you that slowdown. He's got to clear that slowdown. So Chris James out to the point, and we're going to have a battle back on again for the top spot in this race with 9 laps to go.
James, I mean, he's doing what he needs to do, but at the same time, I mean, Cook has been just almost unstoppable. I mean, yeah, you overdrive the back chicane there, but, I mean, he's still right there behind James.
Right on his back deck lid. Is he going to force him to make a mistake? Goes real wide, headed off to the International Horseshoe. James drives it in deep, trying to make it. Now gives him that inside line. Overdrove that corner. Moved Christopher Cook back out to the point. Now let's see if Cook can keep it in the chicane this time.
Well, don't look now, but Chris Bass has reeled them in. He is very close to this front battle. And you got to think, maybe Bass has something for him here towards the end of the race.
Chris Bass on a mission. You got to be wondering, okay, if you got it, if your car's got anything left in it, now's the time to do it. But you got to wonder how much brake these guys got left. 8 laps to go. Greasy racetrack. Christopher Cook is just motoring away. He's got almost a 2-second advantage over Chris James. And Chris Bass 2 seconds back. So your top 3 are all battling within 3 seconds of each other.
Absolutely. And in the drive from Bass right now, I mean, kind of like you said before, he can still see James. James isn't too far out in front of him, so he can still get those points from what James is doing.
Yeah, he sees where James braking, so he says, well, I can brake a little later. But, you know, if he uses up his stuff a little too quick, you know, it's going to be rough.
We've also got to think, I mean, we have seen not only Bass, not only, you know, Cook, but a lot of these drivers, you know, just making a mistake here or there. I mean, we saw Cook there on the back straightaway drive through the chicane. So would that play a factor here towards the end of the race? Somebody just overdriving the car and making a mental mistake.
Yeah, Chris Cook out in front, Chris James second, Chris Bass third. Oh, I was going to call Roberge. He was doing a great job up there in the 4th position. He's going to bring a pit side, so he's going to hand the 4th position off to Christopher Williams. Christopher Kiwi, 27. It's not Clueless, Byron. It's Kiwi. Remember that, Kiwi. He's in the Chris Pro Shops paint scheme. Christopher Lawrence running a nice 7th. Strong showing. Been off of the radar on the broadcast. Why? Because he's been running a quiet race, solid race. Chris Otto in the 88. We saw him headed into the wall. We saw him get it repaired. We see his rear end just kind of all over the place. Holding down 8th place, Christopher T. Jones in 9th. Rounding out your top 10, the 62 machine of Chris Reese.
Absolutely. A lot of these drivers, I mean, you look at back even further than that, you know, Papa there, he's going to bring it down pit road there, but you know, a lot of these guys just coming out here, doing the things they need to be do, you know, running a quiet race, trying to get a good points night out of it. And, you know, a lot of these guys putting together good runs.
Yeah, is my eyes deceiving me, or is Papa's machine short of hood?
I thought I saw that earlier, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, it's short of hood. Christopher Burling in the 47, we saw him with that big battle he had going on earlier. He's all the way back in the 13th. And, last car in the lead lap, Christopher Landy in the Chris By machine, entry number 71. Jonathan Leach holding down the 15th spot. Chris Ryan Jones, he's retired it. Chris Mason's retired it. Chris Thompson's retired it. Wiley and Mesa didn't even make the start. Our leader, Christopher Cook, 5 seconds on the lead now, 6 laps to go. But Christopher Bass and Chris James are making a race out of it. 1 second separation. Can Chris James catch the 97 of Chris Bass?
I don't know. James had that second spot. Bass ended up getting around him there. Could potentially, maybe we see Bass try to make a run towards the front. I mean, he's got a little bit of time left, but one mistake from Cook and Bass could be right there.
Yeah, one mistake from Cook, Bass is right there. One mistake from Bass, James is right there. Top 3 are 20 seconds. I mean, top 3 can all step on their own jump and gather it back up and still be out in front, because it's another 20 seconds back to the 4th place machine of Christopher Williams.
Yeah, a large gap for these top 3, and these have been, for the most part, the best 3 cars we've seen all day. We saw Burling up there early on, but, you know, mistakes cost him a couple of spots there late, but man, Christopher Cook has been just incredible today in what he's been able to do, but you can't take anything away from Bass and James right now.
No, not at all. See the sparks flying out from the bottom of the Bass machine as he brings it back up on the high banks of Daytona. Pushing that machine for all it's worth, trying to catch up to Chris Cook. At this point, you know, he's stepped out a 3-second lead over Chris James. I would, you know, with 5 laps to go, I would be protecting my position and not trying to push so hard that I'm going to catch Christopher Cook, knowing that Chris has just got the setup built in the car that is just getting it done.
Oh, yeah, you know, from Bass's point of view, I mean, you've had one of the best cars all day long, but Cook has just been on a whole different level. It seems like from a lot of these guys, the defensive driving, I mean, you look at Bass, he doesn't really need to because he's got that 4-second gap back to James. But, you know, driving this car extra hard, trying to run down Cook, could cost you that 3rd spot. So I'm with you there. I think you just got to, you know, take your lumps and finish 2nd and celebrate
that podium, take the points, move on to the next track. That's what I've got to say. But one thing I can't say for certain, Chris is going to win this race.
Oh, absolutely. Chris is definitely going to win.
We're going to have a Chris take the trophy home tonight. 5 laps to go. Our leader, the 95 machine, just putting on an awesome job. Just showing everyone how to hustle this car around this track. Not bad at all.
Definitely not bad. I mean, we got to watch his in-car there earlier in the race, and I mean, just the talent that you're seeing, and it's not just him, it's a lot of these guys, but he's just been so consistent and so fast all day long. I mean, just what a drive from him here today.
Yeah. Chris Cook coming around, getting ready to put another lap on the 48 machine, and Jonathan Leach, who gets a little sideways there.
Got a little out of shape.
Yeah, kind of a butt pucker moment for the 95, because you see a lap car getting out of shape right in front of you. and you're leading the race, you just kind of go, whoa. Fresh underwear to the 95 pit, please. Fresh underwear to the 95 pit. And don't look now, but Chris Bass, what happened there?
Not sure. I'm going back to take a look at it.
I'm taking a look at it. I just coded out. That's all it was. So it gave me a crash. I'm good. He's having a little bit of a connection issue there. Starting to blink just a tad. He's 7 seconds behind Chris Cook. Chris Bass in second. Another 4 seconds back to Chris James. I got to go another 20 seconds back to find Chris Williams. And the closest battle I've got on the track happens to be second and third place, Chris Bass and Chris James.
Well, we've seen, like you said, these top 3 cars. I mean, Bass and James have been close to each other almost all day long. Burling up there for a little bit. But these two, one mistake from Bass, one mistake from James, and you got to think Bass can just stay consistent for these last few laps. He's going to bring home a second place finish.
Back on the leader, Christopher Cook, just so smooth around that chicane. Showing us how this job is done. Crosses the start-finish line. And just like that, free to go.
3 laps to go. Calm, cool, collected. I mean, you don't really have to overdrive this car. You can pretty much coast it, not push it too hard for the rest of this race. But, I mean, what a drive. And he's still, right now, as we sit, putting time on Chris Bass.
Taking a look out there on the track, you can see where everyone's running. There's that 95 coming to that second horseshoe on that track map. That's your race leader, and you can see how far everyone is back behind him. Daytona International Speedway. Christopher Cook, 8-second gap.
Just a
9-second gap.
Massive gap right now. And like I said, he is still putting time on Bass, and it doesn't really look like he's pushing that car all too hard.
No, and that's the thing, with these cars, it looks like a slow lap. I mean, you actually, as a driver, got to go slower to go faster. I know that statement doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but you're seeing it right now. He's going slower to go faster. He's driving it smoother, not putting so much wheel, correction into it, not scrubbing the rubber off those tires, being gentle with his braking input and his throttle inputs. And it looks slow because he's not throwing the car around, but the car's doing his job, and he's turning the fastest laps on the dang track at 158 to everyone else's, damn near twos.
Oh, absolutely. And you just watch him. It's not always, the amount of gas that you have, or, how quickly you can get back in the throttle. Sometimes just rolling that throttle, rolling that brake, it is so much faster than trying to overdrive corners and different things. And we are watching a master at work in the way that he's doing that right now.
I'd hate to see what he could do in an LMP2 or a Ferrari around this thing, when it comes to a road race. He is just putting on a clinic with this, these cars are super heavy, light on traction, high horsepower, so you got to be gentle on that throttle. And, brings it back up to the high banks, over to the back stretch with 2 to go. Next time by over the start-finish line, white flag will be out, and we'll have a race.
Absolutely. And just the amount of calmness that we're seeing. We saw him, you know, here after that competition caution get pushed all the way back to 7th place. We saw different cars get in trouble right in front of him, you know, with nothing for him to be able to do. And it was just calm, cool, collected, nonstop, all day long. And this is the result. I mean, over 9-second gap coming around here for the white flag.
Yeah, just simple, smooth, 10 seconds up on the field. Second place has got a 6-second gap back to third, another 25 back to fourth. They're spread out all over. Closest battle I got on the track is Christopher Williams, who's in ninth, happens to be 2.5 seconds behind Christopher Jones in eighth. So this car, you know, they got spread out due to their ability, and the time they put in this thing in practice, these guys are showing it. White flag is out. Leaders in turn one, heading for the last time around through the infield.
Absolutely. The final time around here for Christopher Cook. Just like I said, I cannot say it enough. The amount of calmness, the amount of talent that we've seen from this 95 car has been just outstanding. You know, he had the adversity in the middle of the race. He overcame it. He had the big gap with the caution there early on. Overcame it. I mean, he's just everything that has been thrown at him. He has been perfect in everything that he's done, and just a masterful job.
Yeah, he can probably just, you know, don't even put it in fourth gear and bring her on home. 12-second gap. 95 comes around the last little turn 6, brings it up to the high banks of the Daytona Super Speedway. Brings her off into, turn 1-2 complex on the high banks, heads off to the back stretch, looking for the bus stop. Just got to make that right, left, right, one more time on the bus stop. Kind of hard thing to think about. You're going to turn right, left, right.
Absolutely. I mean, it is a difficult corner, and we've seen, you know, multiple times, even Cook himself make a mistake on those corners. So, you know, you can't overthink it here at the end of the race.
Yeah, well, he did, we did watch him do that drive-through, lost that lead back to Chris Bass, but just picked her right back up. Christopher Cook hustling around turn 3-4 complex, headed for the front stretch chicane. Here comes another right. Looking for the start-finish line. Checkered flag is out. Christopher Cook, your winner at Daytona International Speedway. Chris Bass in the 97 machine brings her out of the front stretch chicane, looking for the start-finish line. Checkered flag is waving. He's going to bring her home in second place, followed by your third place entry, just coming out of the machine, of Chris James. That's your podium.
Absolutely stellar job from this top three. It was just great driving from all three of them. Going back here, it looks like Williams is coming out of that front stretch chicane, and he is going to bring it home in the fourth spot, looking for that start-finish line. Fourth for Christopher Williams.
Yep, and rounding out the top 5, the number 98 machine of Chris Roberge, the other fellow Canadian to Christopher Cook in this race. He brings it into the front stretch chicane. See the cameras going off in the crowd up in the stands. Brings her up to the start-finish line. He is going to round out your top 5 tonight.
Great drive from that 98 car. Very quiet today, but great drive.
Very great drive. Let's see if we can find some folks. I don't know if there's a whole bunch of folks in here, but I'm looking. Looking for post-race interviews. I don't see anyone in there. There's Chris James, the number 2, my third place. See if I can grab him. That seems to.
There we go. We got him in here now.
I got Chris James, number 2 driver. You know what? Heck of a battle going on that track for a little bit. Saw you get around Cook and Bass. Saw you fall back. Hold her down for the 3rd spot. Take the points and run with it tonight. What do you think?
That was a fun race. Cook is a phenomenal road racer. He's just ridiculous. Everyone saw him show up saying, okay, I guess we're battling for P2.
Yeah, well, you know what? I saw him. He's not in the Discord, so I can't grab him in because I wanted to ask him about that. His pit stop when the competition caution came out. He pitted for the front position and came back out in the 7th. Looked like he got a little rattled, fell back to 10th. But man, one hell of a drive back from 10th to the top.
Oh yeah, I was talking about that. Apparently that was not intentional. But yeah, he killed it tonight. And I tried to do an undercut on him, so I kept slowing up to try and let Bass and Cook ahead of me so I could pit and undercut, but Bass had already undercut us, and I didn't know that, and he took tires. I did not take tires, and so those last laps were not fun.
Yeah, I was watching that. A lot of cars were getting awful slippery because it looked like some drivers were just flat over driving the track, especially in the infield course, and they got real slick on the rears. Was that your experience?
Oh yeah. It was definitely ice skating out here tonight.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, it was a heck of a job. I can't. My hat's off to you, man. Welcome to the 3rd position. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you roll?
Yeah, shout out to ESPN for broadcasting. I love watching y'all.
Yeah, you got me and Byron in the booth tonight, buddy.
Heck yeah, Brian.
Well, I finally made it home on a Sunday night, and I was like, I want Chris Cup.
Oh, that's awesome. Shout out to my teammates, Chris Bass and Chris Roberge. So good finish overall for the team. Out Simnut Riggs.
Speaking of your team, I just drag them all in here, man. Means I want to talk to Chris Bass anyway for getting that 2nd position.
There you go. Yeah, I was just getting a shout out to you guys. Great team finish tonight.
Yeah, it was a pretty nice race, man. If you hadn't messed up your pit strategy there, we could.
Well, you had a little something to do with that by undercutting us. So you came flying back on fresh tires on that last lap when we're still out there on old tires, and then I don't even take tires, so I was doomed. Good job, man.
You guys put on one heck of a show tonight. Chris Bass in the 97 machine, folks. We got him here. He got 2nd place. You got around Chris Cook a couple of times, and it looks like you were driving the hell out of that thing. Just didn't have anything for him.
No, man. Just to be quite honest, I don't think anybody has anything for Cook. I mean, everywhere he goes, man, it's actually fun to watch from behind him, of course. So he's one of the greatest. He's one of the greatest road guys I've seen on this service. Now, that's no pumping up somebody's head or ego. That's the God's honest truth. He's one of the best ones on here. So to finish 2nd behind him, if that's nothing to hang my head about, and pretty happy with it. And only, like I said, if James had taken tires, it'd have been him 2nd, me 3rd. But
hey, you know what? It worked out in your favor on that pit exchange. So even though it's your teammate, you got to go, yeah. We'll look toward the next week. Where are we next week?
Where are we next week? I don't remember. Where are we at, James?
It's Chris for the Cup, so CH Homestead?
CH. And I think that will be Chicago. We start with C there, but
well,
I think it's Chicago.
Chicago, I love that track. You guys got a little something for it. My new partner in the booth tonight, Richard Spar, he hadn't ever seen a Chris Cup race, and I told him, well, one thing I can guarantee you, there's going to be a Chris win this race. There's going to be a Chris take the steering wheel home. And one other thing he was, I told him about pre-race, and that is you're going to see some serious mad respect on this track. These guys know how to race around each other and not just beat and bang. You're not going to see a C fixed or an A fixed race here. You'll see them get after it at the end. But, man, you guys had a lot of cars. And what, your teammate there, Chris, the other Canadian in the field, or the other Canuck, as I like to say, Chris Roberge, top 5, my friend. You had some issues tonight that we caught on to earlier. earlier, and you brought it back to a top 5. Tell us about your run.
When I accidentally ran into Chris Otto, him and I collided, but it was just nothing big or anything because he braked earlier before I did. I was not expected, and I had to take my time, not just rush yourself. If you rush yourself, you will wreck everything.
Yeah.
There's a few corners, but I still made it up.
Yeah, I mean, you put on a heck of a run, man. Congratulations on the top 5. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we leave?
Big shout out to my teammates here, 2 and 3. Good job. I'd like to big thanks for you guys for broadcasting. I'd like to big thanks to Jones. Get this. Funniest Chris's.
All right, man. Well, the Chris Cup on a Chris Cup Sim Racing Series on a Sunday night. Brought to you by Simnut Racing Sims, Diecast, Rocket Racing Setups, the whole 9 yards. You guys know how to get around this track, get her done, and have a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun bringing it to you. Richard, what are your final thoughts on the race?
Well, I gotta say, I have not really watched a whole lot of asphalt racing. You know, I've been a really big dirt guy for most of what I've been able to do, but the amount of talent that we saw from you, Chris, James, and Bass, and everybody in this field, it just the amount of drive you all had was just absolutely incredible.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, man. I mean, it's a lot of fun racing with these guys, and it's a lot of fun to pick and joke and get around each other and give each other a lot of hell. So, it's a lot of fun being out here with a lot of these guys. So we just appreciate you guys bringing the enthusiasm you do and the good broadcast that you guys put on. So we very much appreciate it.
Hey, I even got to play with some new software tonight for the first time. So I didn't push all the right buttons, but I think I got the job done. It'll be a lot better next time we go around this thing. All these new graphics, man. And you want to know something else? The iRacing graphics update, I don't know if you guys noticed when you watch that broadcast back, watch them rotors light up glowing.
I saw it. It's amazing.
You can tell, you can actually tell the drivers that have more rear brake dialed into their car than the other ones did by the rotor glow going in the bus stop.
Speaking of that, real quick, alibi, I had to turn up my brake bias towards the end there. Or to the front. On them old tires.
Well, we were talking about that. Too much rear bias, and you're going to want to swap ends. But front bias is going to help you make it in there. But you're not quick going around that bus stop with too much front. And that rotor glow was kind of giving it away. Who was having what dialed where? It was a neat thing to see, man. Hats off to iRacing on that one. Hats off to Chris Cup for the show you guys put on, man. Chris James, what's your thoughts for next week?
We are going. I think we're at iRacing. I was under the impression that this was the first race of the Chris Cup, so it's not. We're going to the iRacing Super Speedway, and I don't know. Jury's still out on my opinion on that track.
Oh, okay. I'm going to give you my opinion on that track. The small skinny pedal all the way on the right side of the floorboard. You hold that down. Put your foot not just on it, put it in it, on it, all around it, and through it, because that's what you need to win there.
Copy that.
I heard you had to put a dent in the firewall, so.
All right, everyone. Chris Cup from a Sunday night, man. I had a lot of fun. ESPN's a network, iRacing's a platform, and Chris Cup Sim Racing Series. That's your Sunday night series, everyone. For my partner in the booth, Richard Spar, and all the drivers in the Chris Cup Series, it's been fun. My name is Byron Rodney, and we'll catch you next week. Same time, same channel. We'll see y'all. Bye-bye.